to grid charging, it's the future, but it's happening now. So I've just had a really cool conversation with Ovo via Twitter. I noticed that Ovo just released a story about vehicle to grid charging. I've got it up here, but I'll put the post in below. Basically what they're doing is they've set up a deal with Nissan where if you own one of their new Leafs, they'll put a vehicle to grid charger on the wall of your house. And what that means is that you can use your car to power your house, and you can put energy in the car when the grid needs to shed load from the grid. So if there's too much electricity on the grid, the car can soak some of that up, and when there's not enough electricity on the grid, the car can actually power, elements in your home. This is a really fantastic development. What it means is that effectively you're going to get paid for both storing electricity when there's too much and not using electricity when there isn't enough. This is a fantastic use of the battery in your vehicle, and as those batteries get bigger, it's going to have a minimal impact on actually the amount of range you're going to have available. One thing though about this specifically for Renault Zoe owners is perhaps a little bit of an issue, and perhaps an issue for Renault themselves, is that in order to offer this, it might mean the death of the battery lease. The battery lease is sort of predicated on a pre-calculation of how much mileage you're going to do, and therefore how much you're going to charge the battery. Now, there's a lot of differences between a lithium-ion battery in your car and a lithium-ion battery in your phone. There's so much more management involved. But essentially, the more that you use it, the more you charge it, the more you discharge it, then the greater the impact on the lifespan of the battery. So, with a battery lease, you sign up to a mileage. Now, if your car is sitting at home charging and discharging because it's part of a vehicle to grid infrastructure, you're clearly not doing any mileage, but you're still using that battery. So it may mean the death of the battery lease. It also may mean that battery lease Zoe owners are not going to be able to take advantage of this kind of scheme. It may only be something that people who actually go out and buy the battery will actually have available to them. So it's an interesting development. I'll put a link to the story below in the description. I'd love to know what you think about this. Put some comments below. I think this is a real revolution. I think that anything that involves you being able to use energy more efficiently and to flatten out the demand on the grid is going to be a good thing, because it basically means that we don't have to fire up different kinds of power station in this country. So the problem with power is that it's it's either there or it's not. If the demand goes up, what you have to do is basically turn on additional generation facilities, and often it's the case that for peaky demand you need very fast responsive generation capacity, and a lot of that tends to come from gas-fired power stations because they can be turned on and off relatively easily. It takes a lot of effort to start and stop a nuclear facility, so they don't. And similarly with wind and tidal power, etc., they're either there or they're not. So the gas power stations and to a certain extent hydroelectric power stations are used to stopgap for peaks in demand. So the ability for people to have their vehicles charging their houses means that you essentially are flattening those peaks off. So the more people that are involved in this kind of scheme, same if you've got a power wall on your wall, so it's an extension of that. It also means you don't have to go out and buy a power wall. They're really expensive. So if you can use something you already have, which is your electric vehicle, to essentially become a power wall, then that's a really, really great innovation, and it makes a lot of sense. So let me know what you think. If this was interesting, give it a like, I'll be really interested in your comments below. So thanks for watching.